Hey there, welcome to Vision, the show all about the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm Lindsay Morshauser-Poe, your host. We've got a great show today, and our first guest I want to welcome to the studio, Don Shaffer. He's an associate professor in English and African American Studies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. So, big year for African American Studies, celebrating the 10th year of it being a program here at Mississippi State. I want you to talk first and foremost about the foundation of that program and really what it means to the community here at Mississippi State.
Sure. I've had the wonderful opportunity to be a part of this program really since the very beginning. As you know, the program started here at Mississippi State in 2007. In 2008, I was hired as assistant professor of English and African American Studies, one of the first hires. So it was incredibly exciting, but in many ways very daunting, to be on the ground floor for this new program. Our first director, who laid a lot of the initial foundation, was Dr. Stephen Middleton, a professor of history. Right. And it's just been amazing to see the program grow over the last 10 years. I can recall the first class that I taught, Intro to African American Studies, enrolled at the time, I think we had 17 students, and now that very same class has about 53 students, and that's just my section. There's another section, with as many students as well. So we've seen tremendous growth over that period of time.
And what classes are in the program? I know it covers the gamut pretty much, but what can you talk on some of the classes that you guys offer?
Absolutely. Our curriculum is really diverse. It's interdisciplinary, so we have courses across several disciplines and departments in the social sciences, the humanities, and the fine arts. We have courses in history, great courses on African American culture and history and lived experience, survey courses that deal with sort of the broad gamut of African American history. We have courses in the social sciences, courses like race and ethnic minorities, for instance, and of course courses in fine arts, in my area in literature, courses like African American literature and so forth. And we really encourage students to take a wide range of courses regardless of their major, and to really sort of embrace the interdisciplinarity of the program.
Do you feel a renewed sense of excitement, a purpose because of the 10-year milestone amongst faculty and students?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's natural to look back on the last 10 years, and to think about how far we've come, but we really want to look at that foundation and think about how we can build on it. And certainly, we've seen tremendous growth in terms of student enrollment in our classes and in the minor. We've initiated all sorts of interesting, collaborations and relationships across this university. We've reached out to other programs, universities. We've invited obviously speakers and scholars, from across the country to come in.
And speaking on that, you have a big conference coming up here at the beginning of November, Black Studies Conference.
Absolutely.
Can you talk on that? We actually just got an email about how we can bring students to that there's enough room because it's hosted in the ballroom, right, of the Union.
That's right.
So talk on that. Big deal, right?
It's a huge deal for us. We're going to kick things off, I believe, on November 5th with a screening of the documentary Agents of Change. So we encourage students, but also the general public, to come out and watch that. And then beginning that Monday on the 6th, we'll kick off our celebration and conference. And it will be a unique mixture of commemorating the program over the last 10 years, but talking about relevant issues related to African American studies, both in the academy, but also as part of a larger social movement.
Okay, that's wonderful. And you kind of touched on my next question. It's for the academic community, but general public can absolutely come to this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
we've invited people from across the spectrum, from journalists to social activists, to attorneys, and they'll be addressing a number of different aspects, of Black studies, both in the academy, but also some of the ways in which, Black studies is relevant, across, the social spectrum, social activism, social outreach. So there'll be something there for everyone, not just us, aka academics and students, but also for the general public who wants to come and learn more about Black studies.
Okay, wonderful. And you touched on this a little bit too, but just kind of looking forward, next 10 years, what do you want to see with this program at Mississippi State? Oh,
wow. So there's a lot of things I want to see. Obviously, I want to see continued growth in the program and the minor. Obviously, quite naturally for a program like this that offers a minor, undergraduate minor, we'd like to eventually, see a major being offered. We like to even think in terms of departmental status. So we have some high goals and aspirations that we want to achieve, and hopefully we can see that happen over the next 10 years.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest on Vision. We'll have more coming up right after this break.
Imagine the flu as something children read about in history books. We are at Mississippi State University, where we ring true.
Welcome back to Vision. Our next guest is Kaylee Few. She's an instructor in the Department of English, but also the director of the Writing Center here at Mississippi State. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you're here to talk about the Writing Center.
Yes.
We may have heard someone talk about this, but perhaps not know what actually happens there. So can you tell us what kind of services you all provide?
Right, so the Writing Center helps anyone at MSU with any sort of writing that they're doing. So whether you're a student or a staff or faculty member, if you're working on an assignment for class, like a research paper or maybe an essay, or even things like grad school applications, statements of purpose. We even have people who come in just for creative writing they do on their free time. So as long as you're at MSU, you can use our services free of charge.
That's interesting, and I don't think that many people would know that it can be used by faculty and staff as well. I think you think of those kind of services as being for undergraduate or graduate students.
Right.
Do you have many faculty and staff that use the service?
It is primarily used by students. The faculty that we do have are usually faculty who are continuing education or people who are working on perhaps getting an article published or some sort of conference paper. So they're a minority of the clients that we see, but we do have a handful every year.
Okay, and so what's the process like? If a student's watching this, do they just come in with a paper copy or do they bring their laptop? How does that work? Right?
You can bring in a paper copy if you want. We have computers there. Lots of students bring in their laptops as well. Most people come to us with some sort of draft started, but you don't necessarily have to. We can help people plan and brainstorm, work out an outline for their paper, or we can look at what you have already started if you do have a draft and give you some feedback in terms of what to revise. So any stage of the writing process, we can help you with it.
Any stage, and that's interesting. I actually talked to my class yesterday about the Writing Center. I took a poll and one of my students said, I went in there because I had no idea where to go with my assignment, and they sat with me and brainstormed, and it really helped a lot. So that's part of the process too. It's not just come in and have you proofread my paper.
Right. We call ourselves tutors, but really we think of ourselves more as collaborators. So it's really just you come in and you have a conversation about your writing with one of our staff members. So it's helpful to have like a soundboard there to work out your ideas, because when you do write a paper, you're kind of already having a conversation with yourself in your head. So we're just a physical embodiment of that.
Okay, and then this may be a difficult question to answer, but advice for students. Because I can imagine that with the Writing Center or even like with math help, things like that, students may feel silly or uncomfortable or intimidated to come in.
Right.
What advice would you give those students who feel like, ooh, I don't even know if I want to walk through the door because I'm intimidated?
Yeah, don't feel that way. We worked with over 1,800 students last year and over 5,000 appointments. So there are plenty of people who recognize that writing can be difficult, and it is. So don't feel that way. Getting feedback from other people on your writing is really the best way to improve it, to know what to revise, because you can't make changes if you haven't gotten feedback from people reading what you wrote. So that's our main purpose, is to help people figure out what they need to improve on and give them a plan so when they leave they know exactly what to do.
Okay, and your staff there, who is that made up of? Are these professionals? Are they students who are tutors as well? What is that like?
Yeah, so we have kind of a mixed bunch of people. We have a handful of undergraduate students from all different departments across campus, everything from anthropology to biochemistry. We also have a handful of TAs from the English department. Pretty much every TA from the English department does at least one semester in the Writing Center. And then we also have a handful of full-time faculty from the composition department. So people who teach Comp 1, Comp 2, classes like that. They also work on the course releases in the Writing Center.
Okay, do you get to choose if you work with a student, another student, or not?
We don't identify the tutors on our scheduler based on what their rank is, because everyone goes through the same training process. So no matter who you work with, you're going to be with someone who's qualified to help you.
So they're specifically trained to work at the Writing Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what kind of process is that?
Well, it depends on what level you come in at. Undergraduates take a semester-long course that I teach every fall, and then TAs and full-time people have usually gone through we do a semester worth of meetings, faculty professional development, where we cover similar topics that I would talk about in the class.
Okay, interesting. So would you want professors to kind of push coming to the Writing Center as extra credit? Is that something that people do across campus?
We get a lot of that. The majority of the students we see are coming in just of their own free will. But one of the questions we ask students when they register for an account with us is, how did you hear about the Writing Center? And the vast majority of them say they heard about the Writing Center from their professor. So I think offering extra credit or maybe requiring students to come is fine, because that's the way they figure out about us. They come in for the first time because their professor recommended us, but then they keep coming back once they figure out how helpful it is.
And really quick, where is it located on Mississippi State's campus?
Our main location is 94 President Circle, right across from Allen Hall, but we do have locations in the library and the Templeton Athletic Building.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kaylee, for being on Vision today. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next edition.